workshop out of 4 workshops on the INSIRE Geopackage. The Geopackage itself was developed by CREA, by Lachi, Abate, and Fantappiè with Epsilon, Stefania, Morrone. And this presentation, I'm Giovanni Abate from CREA. I will hold the whole presentation, the whole workshop, and it's about extending the Geopackage to connection to registry, vocabulary. So we will give a basic on principle of ontologies. By this presentation, there was a contribution from another project had by CREA, sponsored by MASAF, the Ministry for Agriculture, and several colleagues from CREA supported and gave their contribution on this task. So, general outline of the workshop will be a short recap on the Mentimeter results of the first workshop, which inspired somehow the content of this workshop. Then there will be a first recap on those concepts which were somehow lacking or in comprehension in the first presentation, and a brief introduction to Codelists and ontologies. Then it will follow the question and answer and the coffee break. After this, we follow about extending the Geopackage with Lucas topsoil data observations. The Lucas topsoil dataset will be presented, and the population sequence will be introduced. Not the data won't be ingested in this presentation, but observable property will, the old flux to describe the metadata and properties up to observable property will be presented. So, about one question highlighted few information that were widely explained and comprehended, but about observation and measurement and the Geopackage model for the INSIRE soil somehow lacked in the descriptions. So we will stress and try to recap on these 2 objects, which are really relevant for this workshop. Then the second slide highlights which standards are used. So Geopackage and Postgres are quite used, common, and all flat tables like CSV, shapefile, and Excel are the most used. Somehow, all these kind of tables are used and useful for this presentation and workshop. So somehow we will have a recap also on that. So about the burning questions, several were proposed, and we, and the second workshop, we anticipated that we would afford it in 3 and 4. So now we are at 4, and somehow we'll try to make clear about these questions that you offered. About the summary, we won't read it all, but it's more about the last sentence, which we suggest that since the GeoPackage was validated with the INSPIRE validator, then it could be reused by any institution as a template. And that's the point. So we are suggesting exactly that. You can use this GeoPackage as a template, and we will show you somehow how to customize it with your properties and your data. About data is more, it was already done in the second and the third, but about properties is here. We will try to solve this. So getting into the first task, the resume and the shortened introduction to Codelists and ontology. Let's see together what we already seen, but somehow we will comment it again just to clarify, hopefully, something which wasn't so clear somehow. So the approved UML model, which is quite complex to understand about relation and so on, but just read about the name of entities which are listed here. Don't give too much attention if you do not know about UML, about relations, just about the name. So the vector is quite comprehended and approved by anyone. The OMM for soil was quite new for the who use adopt soil data and share soil data, which because it's we are used to adopt other structures. So flat tables or relational databases, but the most relational databases I've seen are never implemented for soil, I mean, by OMM. So we will have to focus on that. The UML was transformed and applied into a physical structural database, which is into the GeoPackage. Every entity which was proposed is there. Here you have a whole preview of the GeoPackage database, and let's have now a brief introduction of both observation and measurement. This is quite new, but it was quite new in 2013 as the implementing rule was proposed, since just 2 years before with the ISO 1956 it was proposed to adopt a model which was proposed by Fowler and Odell in 1997. So the model itself is quite old. Has the first presentation, publication on it. This was supposed to provide a useful resource for defining architecture for specific applications. So it was somehow modular that could lead designing application of any kind. That's why it was turned to be into an ISO in 2011, and then adopted by the INSIRE working group on SOIL for the implementing rule. There are a few basic concepts which are really relevant. Feature of interest is what we are describing. The observed property is the property that we try to describe of this feature of interest. The procedure is somehow how we describe it. The unit of measurement can be there or not. It's not mandatory. It depends on the kind of observable property that we are describing. And the result is what we, the number or the code that we associate to this observation. So in whole, the observation is made of all these four concepts. For instance, for the profile element, which can be a soil horizon or layer, if we want to describe the pH value, we should state which procedure, so in water, and get a result which is 7.5. That makes a vertical table containing any result on any observation of any observable properties of any feature of interest. So somehow it's really different because from what we are used into the soil domain. Because if we share a shapefile, often we might include, for instance, the soil site and associate a table to describing soil site with all properties in columns. In this case, there are no columns. There's no need to extend your own property, adding a new column on the GeoPackage, for instance. That makes the structure of the GeoPackage more robust, because any new observation you want to add, any new observable property you want to add, you just add a line instead a column. Designing an application, if you add a column, you change the structure. So it's make your application weak because anyone which add the structure would change the result of the application. So it's somehow a more robust designing and effective structure to map the observation and to extend all observation kind you want. About the observation, we can somehow the core, the observation is related to observable properties and the process and the feature of insert. Observable properties are those without unit of measurement, are associated, might be associated to a unit of measurement, but as it is observed, then the unit of measurement should be stated. But conceptually, the observable property itself might be described by several units of measurement. And the process itself should be documented by a document citation and by a related party. The relation in between observable property and process might be associated. So an observable property might be described by several processes. The Codelist, table is extra. It's not really included into the UML model, but was added for application purposes because since it's a portable database, the GeoPackage, then it should work without any internet connection. So every list that will be used is contained into the Codelist table. Let's get a brief introduction now to some concept on Codelist and ontologies. So my suggestion is to download and read this deliverable produced by this project about harmonized procedure for creation of databases and maps, deliverable 6.1. In particular, chapter number 3 and paragraph on controlled vocabularies and soil ontology will be briefly introduced here. Just a few slides, not a real introduction. So about figure 3.5, it's about data. Data itself is 7.5 on the about the pH value we showed in the figure before, but it should be somehow 7.5 has no meaning. It should be described about where it was, so the object, which is the feature of interest, and the properties, so the pH value, and about process. So all this information are metadata. So data and metadata should always be included to describe your own data. And a single shapefile with the naming of columns, it doesn't describe with descriptive, structural, and administrative metadata. So it just gives you the data, but doesn't list the metadata. So we are here proposing a template which allow you to describe both, to share both data and metadata. Data about instances, objects, and properties. And with a complete information about descriptive, structural, and administrative metadata. On the left side, on the right side, we see there are in the deliverable a glossary about describing what is. We won't read it all. I would just stress about the concept of ontology, which somehow it's about both showing entities and concept, and also the as a relationship among concepts. So it's made with particular representation language, but is somehow out of the scope if we talk about Codelists. On a figure on the left side down, figure 3.10, we can see that the encircled red concept, so it's about lists and classification, list of codes, value code list, interval list, and taxonomy. All these concepts are related to code list, and all together, list, thesauri, and classification are somehow all controlled vocabularies. While on table 3.1 in the deliverable, here it is presented just the first 3 lines, but the table contains tens of lines, maybe about 30, I don't remember. And it's just about several controlled vocabularies that are related to soil data. For instance, the 3rd line is about soil property and process proposed by Duval, is an ontology, which contains several soil properties and process. So it's somehow a reference. And so let's go further. About the code list, for sure we should adopt INSPIRE code list, which is published into the INSPIRE registry. And so there is the registry published a code list register and contain all the code lists related to all INSPIRE teams, included the soil. If we search into the registry for parameters related to the profile element, for instance, we can see that they are divided in several major groups: biological parameter, chemical parameter, and physical parameter. And about depicting a matching table about major groups and feature of interest, it's about describing the soil, the phenomenon type, which altogether the INSIRE code list register for the profile element list just 9 chemical parameters for the profile element. No physical, no biological, for instance. For the soil profile, it's just 1 chemical parameter. For the soil site, is about 133 chemical parameters, but no biological, no physical. So based on the actual situation of the INSIRE code list register, we cannot describe our data properly. For instance, for the soil site, we would like to describe altitude, but no, doesn't exist any altitude related to soil. It does exist. So sorry, I'm wrong. The altitude is not about soil, is another domain. So it does exist, and it should be correctly described by another domain. So I'm false, but the concept is no physical parameter like the color, for instance, not for the soil site, but so profile element. So my apologize. I'm making it a confusion, but just to see that right now the register includes just a few observable properties. How to extend it? Here comes glosses. Glosses, it's a wonderful job which includes several procedures. It owns publish the procedure code list. So it's about processes, unit of measurement, and observable properties. And that's exactly what we need to extend this table we've seen and to resolve the zero on the image we showed before. Otherwise, there is the Agro portal. Here you can search not just AgroVoc, the search any ontology. So somehow you will find all the 30, about 30 ontologies I've shown in the table in the slide before. So here is about extending about biological data and all the and to solve the zero that are not yet listed into the INSIRE code list. So here we arrive to question time. There are plenty of questions.
Yes, Giovanni, we have received a lot of questions from Kati. So I propose that Kati can because she has made a lot of
Yes.
comments, so maybe she can also. I think that for some, Andrea already answered, for example, but we can have some kind of a summary for maybe from Kathy of all the questions that she has put in the chat, and we can try to give an answer.
I mean, it's
So, Kathy, please, microphone.
I mean, the only question is on the WRB ontology. The last time I saw this resource, it was a PDF file. I did a quick Google. I could not find an ontological representation. So there to be cool if you would share that. Otherwise, my statements were just minor corrections to what you were saying.
About the double word reference space, into the GeoPackage, there are 3 versions included. 2006, 14, 15, and 2022. The whole version are listed in the code list table and relate, but actually, and the URI of any concept is there. So somehow right now the GeoPackage is complete about all the 3 versioning. About the online version of the 2014-15, we got an issue because it was dismissed by FAO. So we will discuss if it will be possible to expose it again and publish somewhere else. But in any case, the GeoPackage itself is complete.
Okay, I mean, still back to this question, because I'm trying to understand, is this really an ontology or is it a vocabulary? And I've seen a lot of obfuscation.
It's not an ontology, it is a classification.
It as an ontology. And to my memory, I mean, it's the basic resource is a PDF document which is full of individual tables. And one of the challenges facing this community would be taking these various documents apart and creating referenceable code lists out of them. Because, I mean, right now you've taken it apart into the GeoPackage, but for wider harmonization, it would be really important to get these in a referenceable manner and not just stuffed into a GeoPackage. If we have a clean URI saying this is our elevation observed property and this is our procedure to figure out the particle size fraction, we have those online, then we can reach true harmonization. Okay, but I mean, you've answered my question. It's actually not an ontology. And the other points were just clarifications. I mean, O&M was not new 2011. That was version 2. It had been around for about 10 years by then. It wasn't widely known in the thematic communities, but we were working on the SANI project 2006 to 2010. So, I mean, that was all running and being set up. Further comments I made when you went through the observation, that was very nicely explained how you provide an observable property saying I'm providing the pH. I determined the pH with this methodology on this feature of interest, and here's my result. What you left out are the times. And the times are also essentially, you've got the phenomenon time telling you when exactly was this phenomenon measured. You've got the result time when the result was made available. And also in some cases, you have less modeling. In some cases where we're doing modeling forecasts, we've got the valid time. The air quality will be like this tomorrow. So that was my second point. The direct linking of the observable property with the unit of measure, it's an approach, but it can be dangerous. And there are some cases where it's more efficient, depending on what observable properties you have, to have those neutral and provide the unit of measurement in the data stream in the observation itself. I mean, if you're looking for temperature data, you don't really care if it is Fahrenheit, Celsius, or Kelvin. That is a simple numerical transformation. So the way you're doing it, you'd have to search for 3 properties. And anything else? Yeah, I mean, on the code list, you then mentioned the INSPIRE observable property code lists are very narrow. They sort of took a handful of things they had and put that in there. There we need to look for other resources like the glosses code lists. And I mean, that brings me also back to one of my first points. One really valuable activity, we have to find some project to do this, would be to take apart these various PDF resources, be they WRB or the like, and create code lists out of them. I'm very much hoping that one of the Mission Soil projects will have the resources to do this.
Kathy, I want to react on what you say. First of all, about the WRB, there is not just the PDF. I know that Giovanni has worked with FAO, a colleague in FAO, to produce some SCOS, right, Giovanni? But it's better if he mentioned this.
It's now dismissed. It's not anymore online, this course.
Okay.
So, in any case, somehow we are managing these as a code list right now into the EJP. There was built an ontology on that, but now we don't have it anymore. So
okay, so I didn't know this. Okay.
We will try to fix this on the INSIE meeting. I'll try to find out why it was dismissed and try to. And about observable properties and code list, it will follow with the next presentation. So please let us go farther with the workshop, and then we will focus on that for sure.
Yeah, but I want also to mention to Kathy that actually inside the SOIL-Wise project, we are having a specific group, you know, this, I think, exactly on this activity of organizing and the different code lists, and also trying to connect one concept to the other, so to have the different, what is available now to be matching together. So this is a huge activity, actually. Yeah.
This, that's why I was just pointing out what needs to be done, and see to what extent SOIL-Wise has the mandate for it, since it's more on the meta level. But I argue it in that we need these code lists as metadata. Don't provide the data. We need to know the observable properties, the procedures. I'm pretty sure we can convince them there to include these activities. And I've also been hearing of other Mission Soil projects. I know Michael Befils is in the Icelander project. He's been getting in touch with SOIL-Wise. How can we move forward on vocabularies? So there's a lot of interest there. We need to make sure these activities are coordinated, because it'd be a pity if two different groups do the same work and are then competing. It'd be better if we are all aware who is doing what. Work on the table. If we each take one part and get on with it, maybe we can get done.
Yeah, true. I'm not aware of other submission projects working on this, actually.
Okay. I know Icelander is. We're currently working a talk for EGU, and we've been talking how to coordinate this with SOIL-Wise. And I mean, that's one of the challenges with SOIL-Wise, also liaising with all of the other soil mission projects and trying to keep track. What are they doing? What are we doing? How does this all come together? That's why I'm purposely making noise here, to make sure that anybody else working on observable property resources, I don't care if they're ontologies, if they are on napkin ML, but please get in touch with us so that we can coordinate our activities and get a harmonized system available for everybody.
Kathy, I would ask you to offer answer instead of questions, because you are, you know much more about all this concept than us. We are just trying to defend our job here about the GeoPackage. But let other people have questions maybe. And please help us for replying to answer. So is there any other question?
One thing I would like to ask is, so I'm not asking a question,
Yes.
Is how O&M works really clear to the audience? Because I mean, I've been working on some additional resources. I know this is very tricky. And I've been spending quite a bit of time going through how can I better explain it. I'm going to put something in the chat. This is a work in progress of my attempt to make this more understandable. So anybody in the audience who is curious and is trying to understand that, maybe take a look at the document I just provided the link for. I've gotten some decent feedback on this that people say, oh, okay, now they get it.
Thanks a lot. And I think that these concepts are quite difficult, especially for us, we are soil scientists and not informaticians. So I'm quite sure that 4 workshops on which only a part of this workshop on this team cannot solve and make it understandable to all of our audience on this topic. So yeah, so maybe we should need some kind of follow-up on specific topics that are not so digested yet by our audience.
I mean, a short final statement from my really hands-on would be nice to show. Here I have my soil profile and I want to indicate the pH on this profile element. What do I do? And get away from the abstract theory and down into reality to show that in a few concrete examples.
Okay, but
Okay.
I agree with Giovanni that maybe the concrete example that we will present after in the second part of the workshop we make hopefully
yes,
more
we will
understandable.
get in deep into the observation and measurement application later. So if there is no other question,
we can have the coffee break. Yes, I think because it was in the. Well, we are a little bit earlier than foreseen, but maybe we can wrap up a bit earlier than in the plan. How do you see, Giovanni?
We can have a short break and start maybe in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. So we've seen that it's mandatory to describe your own data set, to extend with observable properties from other sources. So in this case, we will describe about the Lucas topsoil data set for example of another new data source to be described by mandatory metadata, complete metadata.
Yes, Giovanni, you can go on.
Yes. Okay. About about the Lucas topsoil dataset. It's I won't describe it deeply, but in any case, it doesn't describe any complete profile, just samples of the topsoil, making out a composite soil sample and analyzing on several kind of observable properties. It's somehow a complete data set for Europe and monitoring. It's monitoring since 2009 for five campaigns up to the 22 campaign. So it's describing the whole of Europe. So it's quite a robust data set with it's extending both for soil properties, for processes, and it's quietly documented. So it's a really interesting data set. Sorry. About referencing properties and parameters. So we can find into documentation some information about the dataset. The table 8 describe differences in between 2018 and 2022, which parameter was added in the new Lucas, for instance. But this it's not enough for describing the data set and the metadata. So while table 3.2 on the right side, it's perfect for describing the data. It describes about which parameter, which unit of measurement, and which method, standard method was adopted. So this is quite an interesting table giving information about the data set. And it will be here what we suggest is to prepare an Excel file or CSV as you like for describing your own data set. In this case, it's the Lucas data set. Local ID, the local ID, it's about the name of the field. So it's somehow is used into shapefile or into tables to give the name of the column, while the label describes this field, the column. The label is actually used as parameter or parameter name. For instance, course fragments. A definition is also there sometimes. So it's also relevant to add this information. This is somehow explained. For instance, Ca, calcium, is actually the exchangeable calcium. So it's quite different from total calcium, for instance. So it's really relevant to associate the locality to the definition somehow and to the process, because to allow you to associate the correct process. Then the unit of measurement for sure, it's relevant to describe the measure group, okay, which can be biological, or chemical, physical, and so on, and the method, the standard method adopted. So in the GeoPackage are there two different processes can be stated with two different foreign keys. So we suggest to associate the international standard and the national standard to have a common reference. If you just describe your own national standard, then might not be there a common understanding of the process. But in any case, if you follow the process that we will see later, then or even just the national standard might be enough to give a correct picture on this project in a harmonized manner. In any case, we allow to express both the international and national. For instance, the national standard, it was compiled thanks to our colleagues specialized in any domain about chemical parameters, biological parameter, and physical parameter here at CREA. And beside those general information which are described by this table, also references to vocabularies or code lists should be listed. I'm not code lists, sorry, vocabularies. So please associate in your Excel file both local ID to the general description and to vocabularies. You can see and try to describe both the process, the observable property, and the document about the procedure. In our case, the document is referred to the ISO, while the observable property might be both described by the INSIRE code list, or where it's not solved by INSIRE, we can extend by glosses, for instance. Some other are not solved by glosses, so can be searched and described by any other vocabulary. For instance, you can see in the biological parameter that it could use AgroPortal to describe a few of these properties, biological properties. So, just giving a count back on that, we can see that we can describe the Lucas dataset about 139 profile element chemical parameter, 8 physical parameter, and n biological parameter. The n is because we know about how to describe and so on, but we haven't yet completed the definition of every parameter. So we know it's about hundreds, but we don't know how many hundreds. So I cannot solve this number. In any case, also the soil site into the Lucas dataset will solve some biological, chemical, and physical parameter, but the work is not performed right now. It's out of the scope of this workshop, so it's no count is on this line. About the soil profile, it's not about soil profile in description, Lucas dataset, so it will be 0 for even in the future. So let's give now a look about the population sequence. So it's just about knowing how to extend information into the GeoPackage without getting an error. So I'm using the database sequences listed by DP Weaver, which are not strictly related to the population database sequence, but the picture itself, the list, the order, so it's not the same concept, it's not the exact concept, but the list, the order is there. So I'm just suggesting you, if just in case, to use it just as a reminder of which information should be added before of the other. So in this case, no observation could be added unless you define the data stream, for instance. So if you populate the database, you should start from the soil site, soil plot, soil profile, and so on. But encircled by the red square, it's about those metadata which should be described before starting the populating process. So before, you should be confident that any unit of measure, document citation, related party, process, and observable property are there. The template is complete about this, and your dataset are described by the template, all these entities, instances, sorry. On the right side, sorry, you can see the QGIS project where several entities tables are listed, and also those which are not mandatory and not listed by Beaver into the sequences. For instance, the Codelist is not there. So, and this is somehow the order which should be followed to populate any table. So let's talk about unit of measure. The consolidated model adopt completely the ISO 1983, which is the geographical information schema, and suggests to structure the information about unit of measure with this field, unit of measure, name, symbol, type, standard unit, scale, and formula. We implemented already into the GeoPackage several useful unit of measurement with the human readable symbols, generally similar to the one we already seen into the table from Lucas, and with the related name and the formula. But while glosses implements and suggests to adopt QUDT ontology. So glosses adopt an ontology for unit of measurement. That's really interesting, for sure. So somehow it's a strong reference for unit of measurement, which are not included into the table already into the GeoPackage template. The QDT is for sure a standard, and all units are exposed into a unit vocabulary. So we can see information about there. Let's have a short recap about the process and observable property. And so the process should be described by an INSIRE ID, which is composed by local ID, namespace, and version ID. The name got a name for the process, a type, and a document citation. Document citation, as I anticipated, there are should be 0 to several, but we just implemented 2, just to simplify their relation and the GeoPackage. There's no fix defining what is international or what is national. Just it's not mandatory field, can be 0, but it's recommended to complete also the information about the document citation. The process parameter, right now, we never compiled, and what we will see is it will be useful in the future to adopt. In relation to the related party, as by the document citation, can be listed, and we will show how to complete, populate, and what the result in the GeoPackage after completing. So about procedures, the recommendation is to adopt clauses as a reference to describe your properties for an harmonized purposes, just to avoid describing the same properties with different in different ways, but meaning the same things. So we just use clauses just for harmonization purposes. About instead of the Codelists table is it was implemented inspired by the INSIRE registry with a simple structure, not so complex, just a few fields with the ID, label, definition, collection, and parent. Parent gives the structure. So it's just meant both for creating drop-down menus in QGIS, for instance, word reference base, all 3 versions, but also for checking the validity of data entered through figures. And the parent field allow us to structure the compiling of data in forms about observable properties. We anticipated something. Kathy suggested also a view on observable properties. And we will have a short recap on that. So the observation is about an observed property which is related to an observable property associated with, stated by a label, associated to a base phenomenon and the unit of measurement. This is the UML. So I'm not invented or stating, maybe I'm expressing it in a wrong way, but it's the UML model who describe it as it is, as this. So a label, a base phenomenon, and a unit of measurement. And are related to phenomena, to the feature of interest. So phenomenon type value somehow lists the feature of interest. Glosses offers a list of observable properties. So just for the extension of the data set, if the INSIRE register doesn't list your own property, please refer to Glossit Codelist and search for your own properties you want to insert into the data set. We will see how to perform later with the slide. So the point will be downloading the template and we won't give a demonstration right now for inserting data since it was already performed by the second. So in this case, we just try to resume what to list where and from which search. So about the document citation, you can open the table, go in editing mode, add a line, and in your line, complete your information about name. The name is the short name. The name is the real name of this property. For instance, for the ISO 10390 from 2005, it's this is the short name, but the extended name is listed down. So it's soil quality determination of pH, for instance. You can see into the URI, into the word, also other information like date, publication date, the URI, URI, and so on. So this is about how to populate the document citation. While the related party, you can see it's about who is related to this particular process. So generally, it's the author, about the author, or the publication. So there are several different roles. We are mainly interested in the authoring. So it's about the individual, the organization, position, electronic address, and website. It's somehow absolutely not mandatory, but somehow might be useful for defining maybe a publication, because it's about describing authors of a particular publication. So any document for sure is a short list of contributors. About the process, defining a new process, you can, on the right side, there is the clauses procedure. And for instance, for pH, you can find there has been listed. I'm sorry, I see that something is, the discussion is going farther on the chat, but I keep going and we might resume it at the end of the presentation. So it's about describing pH procedures. There has been done a huge work on glosses. So here we can really harmonize different documents, both national, international standard, local standard, and so on, by means of this work, which is listed under the procedure glosses, Codelists. So it's about defining the locality, which we recommend, but it's the namespace and the version. About the versioning, I haven't noticed any numbering of version on glosses, so I would put it down the 1. But about the namespace, it's there. Just what is before the name of the procedure. And about the description, you can see clicking into the link that is proposed. So in this way, you can describe and compile your process. But about the procedures, the observable property, it's a code list. So it should be also listed into the code list table. And about describing in the code list table, it should be replicated and added to the code list table to and associated both to the collection, which is profile, element, parameter, name, value, the feature of interest, which is the profile element, the phenomenon, which is chemical, and the relation in between now, feature of interest and phenomenon. About the observable property, it should also add it, and we will later see how it has been extended by Lucas. But in any case, also glosses offer you a list of properties. The pH value is a property listed into the INSIRE registry, so we can add the effective cation exchange capacity, for instance, motivated from glosses, and how to compile it, give it a name, associate to the feature of interest, phenomenon type, base phenomenon, unit of measurement, and describe the type of domain value. That means there are two types, result values or code list. So if your property given a number result, then it is a result value. If your property is described by a code list, then associate to a code list, and then it will be requested which kind of code list. So about the online demonstration is about just giving a picture on what is there after all this process of extending the observable properties. So there are several units of measurement already there, which describe potentially your observable properties. About the document citation, there were just 4, and after this exercise of compiling Lucas, they are now 15 different processes described. About the related party, there were 3, and now there are just 4 added into the GeoPackage described. About processes, there were 4, and there are now 26 processes described. About the code list, it should be filtered on collection, profile element parameter name, and we can, sorry, yes. It's 32. So altogether are listed 32 observable properties into the code list. Generally, all the physical and chemical and biological are still missing. About the observable property, there were both organic carbon and pH value, and now there has been added, and altogether are 39 properties described as observable properties. Okay. So now we describe metadata of, we follow all the sequences populated the metadata on the data. What's the next? The next is about the feature of interest, data stream, and observation is about it's about an updating or import by means of Hail Studio or about SQL procedure to import your information from the server, from your custom SOIL database to the INSIRE template. It's an export by means of two procedures, or the Hail or SQL. But now, if you are sure that any unit of measurement and so on, any metadata is complete, now it works. As far as we will publish the Lucas template on the GitHub, then you will need just to apply this transformation with Hail or by means of SQL to ingest your data into the template. Right now, this template is not yet online. So, but we are going to publish it, a first version by the end of the week, and then it will be usable. We won't demonstrate the use of Hail, since I'm not confident with that, and it was already demonstrated by the third. So I won't demonstrate it anything. And that's about the workshop. So I would
I don't know,
stop the
Giovanni,
presentation.
maybe because we have only one comment now. It's from Kathy again. So maybe we can give some answer to this comment. It is
Yes.
about the unit of measurement. I mean, the QDT ontology, it is used by glosses, but not by us, actually.
Yes.
So-
It's true. It's about UCUM, and indeed, UCUM it's my reference for compiling the unit of measurement. So right now, I'm quite confident that it's about. But in any case, I just wanted to expose the suggestion by by glosses. But it's true, Kathy is true. She's the most informed, but we cannot ask her to demonstrate everything for us. So I'm trying to do my best, but she's the most informed. In any case, it's true. It's UCUM, and indeed it should be.
Yeah, but
okay.
I think that this support our coding actually, because we were just discussing among us about the unit of measure.
Yes.
So if we are adopting a kind of standard that is OGC, that our question, Kathy, was actually because we do not have access to this ISO document that is cited in the UML INSPIRE model. We were wondering if we adopted this UCUM, as Giovanni says, if we are compliant with this, what is foreseen.
About Maria, about the OGC, it should be online also. So we just cited QDT has an ontology. So there's behind that is an ontology, but it's not mandatory. We can reference to the OGC model, UCUM for sure, it's true. And the time we will take to upload the template, which I've shown you right now, with the result of the import properties metadata. It's just to have a clear picture about any property, and also even about unit of measurement are really compliant and complete for this standard. So we will take a short time to publish the result, the template, I mean, online in the GitHub.
Yes, I saw Kathy appearing, that disappearing again.
Yes, but in any case, is there any other? Okay.
Yes, I want just to add that, yes, we are using not Q, again, we are not using the for unit of measurement, we are not using QDT. This is used by glosses. Right,
So,
Giovanni?
Sorry? I was reading Francisco question, which is about it's from Ebenor, and
no, sorry, that's not a question. It's about all the materials provided is very useful for us as soil researchers in order to facilitate the implementation of the period transfer function and also to ensure the interoperability. So thanks a lot for all the information.
Thank you, really. About soil-wise, the project is Kathy, to reply to Kathy, the project is still working on, so the discussion is open, and it's there. We can further develop the template, or maybe slightly change, maybe. Within the soil-wise, or adopt to expose a few of the data set. So about soil-wise, everything is open. It's just started. We are at the second year, and it will last a few more years. So we expect we attend a new version of the template within the SOIL-wise project.
I want to just answer to Kathy that we are part of SOIL-wise actually. So
we met in Firenze, and what we're trying to do is a call out to anybody on this call who is working in one of the multitude of soil mission projects that SOIL-wise is trying to get an overview of and coordinate. And I mean, some of these projects have already gotten in touch with us, and Fanny and Paul and I have been discussing, as I mentioned, with Icelander, how can we get the vocabularies they are working on more into the central common domain, and any other projects who are working in this direction. I mean, we need and it'll work if we're coordinated. Like I said a bit earlier, if we know who is doing and save doing double work.
Yeah, exactly, Kathy.
Or if on this, please tell us what you are working on. Go for it. If you need guidance, tell us. If not, go for it and give us the results. We need them.
Yes, and actually we were thinking with the Fanny van Egmond to establish a use case exactly on this, on this work. And so involving not just the people for sure of SOIL-wise and maybe of the GPSOL team, but also all other possible users working on this topic. And so, yeah, we are on this. Yeah.
Perfect.
So yes, so if people is in this case now attending to this workshop is interested on the topic, please reach out to us and keep in touch. We can include you in this activity of Codelists, working on Codelists and ontologies for soil. And yes, I think that now we can have this Menti. I hope this time will function. I have tried the presentation, so maybe I can share my screen, Giovanni, and you can enter. Just take time to people to enter to the Menti with the code that you see. So you can either enter to menti.com and enter this number that you see. Yes, I will write the number here in the chat. 7535. Okay, so you are already there. You are sharing. Okay, that's good. And this is the direct link. So we have 32 attendants. So just wait for people to answer. Okay, I see we have 18 now. Okay, so maybe I can go to the next. Okay, I see a lot of people. Yeah. Okay, here it is, the next one. So I'm waiting for the last. Yeah, now I can go to the next one. I'm missing only one person to answer. Okay, so now we can go to the next one. Hmm. Okay, I still miss one. And then we can go to the, I think this is the last one. Okay. Okay, this is not the last one, actually. We have another one. Very important for us.
Maria, no burning questions. So
You think
close
so?
the.
Maybe people is writing down some poems. I don't know.
It's one.
Can you
Okay.
please share the presentation? Yeah, sure. This is always, all the times. Yeah.
And also the recording of the
Yeah.
presentation will be.
Yeah, actually, only the first two, I mean, the first workshop, which was in 2 video, are now uploaded on YouTube. But the program is to have all the workshop online in the EJP SOIL YouTube channel. This is interesting. Will you do a hands-on training?
Not by this project, but maybe within SOIL-wise project,
yes, could be.
it could be. So we should discuss it with the colleagues from SOIL-wise.
To integrate the sampling class of Frost server.
Yes, sure. We do think, but not right now, not to the GeoPackage. We are now working on the soil database for a national database for soil health purposes. And within this template, we are thinking to enable the Frost data model, sensor things API. So it's somehow complete. Instead of ONM, it's the OMS. So the updated ONM standard. And so we will see what comes out, but not in short and not within SOIL-wise.
I see that also Kathy is answering on this point.
Yeah.
Just a short note on the link which was provided there. That is the prototype we put together for the water quality interoperability experiment within the OGC. But the 2.0 data models are similar but slightly different.
Yes.
I'm just looking to see where I can find that page. I've got it somewhere, but I need to look a little bit.
We are really interested in, but right now we won't dedicate any effort on that. We just know about someone who's working on that scope.
With a short heads up for everybody, Sensor Things has been seriously updated over the last year, and that specification should come out in the course of this spring. And let me check. I've just found the data model link. Let me provide that for anybody who's interested. So I've just put a link in the chat, and if you scroll down that issue a little bit, you've got the full 2.0 data model that is now totally stable, and that covers all of the sampling bits. So that would definitely also be a worthwhile extension to consider doing for the EJP soil database. Sampling it's always been a part of the observations and measurements model. It was not taken into account when the soil vector part was put together, but that would definitely be worth investigating. I mean, we have now fully integrated it into sensor things. The old version of sensor things only covered the observational aspects of O&M. And when we did the update to observations, measurements, and samples, that's also why we're now calling it OMS, because everybody forgot the sampling aspects. And that's why it's not in the INSPIRE model. They saw the observation and ran with it, but the sampling part would provide some relevant information. Maybe we can find some resources in SOIL-Wise to work on that.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know, how do you see, Kathy? This could also be part of this user case, or maybe another one.
Ideally the same one. I mean, if we look at the size of the users, SOIL-Wise, they are huge anyway. And I would be very much for integrating this, and while we're at it, adding the sampling aspects. We can really tailor this to fit the requirements of the soil community.
Okay. Okay, good. And I see that, I suppose that these are the comments that we definitely received. And I see that there is a suggestion for more detailed courses, which is something like you do a hand-on training. So hopefully, yes, inside SOIL-Wise. And there is also a suggestion to have a new session in 6 months when people has test the Geopackage. And I hope that the people is going to test and I'm very happy to see that people also has appreciated the Geopackage and the course. And I really thank everybody that is attending the course, participating. And for sure, I also thank Andrea, Stefania, Giovanni, and all our colleagues that have participated to this last workshop, and everybody.
Maybe we can suggest to turn on the cam so to see the participants and have a shot.
Yeah, why not? I think that you can unshare the screen, Giovanni.
Yes, sure.
It is still shared.
Okay.
Okay, now it is there.
Okay.
But I only see few people. Do you see everybody?
Okay, no, sorry. It's wrong. I just stop
sharing the screen. Yes.
Because it was the wrong screen. So interrompi. Okay. Now you can connect.
I still see only you and few people, but yeah. I don't know, Stefania, how it is.
No, you should the
I see everybody.
view. You swap the view with. I try. Maybe now it yes. Maybe now it's working. No.
No. Now we are seeing your screen, Giovanni.
Interrompt. So I'm sorry, I can't see you. Just.
Giovanni, scusa.
Sì.
Prova a cambiare la vista dello schermo.
But I think it's Stefania that can do this. So
yes.
She has the lead of the Zoom meeting.
Su vista c'è galleria. Probabilmente
sì.
l'hai impostato sul motore.
Ma io non... Chi è che sta mostrando lo schermo?
It's not an issue of a screen, it's just about yeah, okay, so Epsilon has produced the screenshot. So Stefania produced it.
Okay.
It's interesting to see people scared. Okay, so thanks again. And we will share with you everything, all the material, the video, and all the stuff. And please write to us for any question about this GeoPackage.
Okay. So thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Claudia was there.
Bye-bye.
Bye.